the mysterious disappearance of two sisters from a remote village. In the quiet, remote village of Asteo on Saipan Island, part of the Northern Mariana Islands, a haunting mystery has gripped the community for over a decade. Paloma Kitugwa-Luk, born on February 9, 2001, and her younger sister, Milena Kitugwa-Luk, born on February 13, 2002, were two bright and well-loved children raised by their grandparents after both parents had left the island. Their father, a former police officer, had relocated to Micronesia for work and rarely maintained contact with the family, while their mother had moved to Guam and eventually to the mainland United States. Despite the physical absence of their parents, Paloma and Milena were surrounded by a loving extended family. Their grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins all played active roles in their upbringing. The girls attended school in a neighboring town and were known for their friendly nature and their ability to make friends easily. Life was simple and safe, until the morning of May 25, 2011, when everything changed. That day, the girls woke early and prepared for school. Their bus stop, a small covered pavilion just a few hundred meters from their home, was a short walk away. At 6:10 in the morning, they were seen sitting together on a cement slab at the bus stop. It was a seemingly normal start to the day, but when school ended at 3:30 in the afternoon, the girls had not returned home. Concerned, their grandparents flagged down the school bus and asked the driver about the sisters. The driver wasn't sure if they had boarded, but all the remaining students insisted they hadn't seen the girls at all that day. Panicked, the family contacted the school, only to learn that Paloma and Milena had not attended any classes that day. The realization was horrifying. The girls had gone missing sometime between 6:10 and 6:30 in the morning, the time their school bus typically arrived. For over 10 hours, no one had noticed they were missing. The school had not called to check on their absence, and crucial hours had slipped by without any search effort being initiated. Immediately after confirming the girls were missing, their grandparents contacted the local police. Fortunately, the authorities took the matter seriously from the start. An island-wide alert was issued, and the family distributed missing person flyers in the community and the nearby Thursday market. Police officers began conducting door-to-door searches, questioning residents, and canvassing the neighborhood for any signs or information. Investigators focused on the bus stop, where the girls were last seen. Nothing appeared out of place. There were no signs of a struggle or evidence suggesting the girls had run away. No personal items were left behind. This led the police to strongly suspect foul play and suggested the girls had been taken. They gathered details from witnesses and classmates, learning that no one saw the girls after they were spotted waiting for the bus. In a crucial discovery, police confirmed that the window of their disappearance was just 20 minutes between 6:10 and 6:30 in the morning. The girls' physical descriptions were quickly disseminated. Paloma, who was 5'1" and weighed 90 pounds, was wearing jeans and a white blouse. Milena, who stood 4 feet tall and weighed 65 pounds, had on jeans and a light green shirt with a butterfly design. She also had a noticeable birthmark on her left cheek. Both girls carried backpacks with their names and home phone number written on the straps. Paloma's was dark purple and labelled with Kitugwa-Luk, while Milena's featured a Dora the Explorer design. The dense vegetation surrounding the area likely obscured whatever occurred, and despite the many homes nearby, no witnesses came forward with credible sightings. As part of the investigation, police examined Paloma's school journal, but it revealed nothing unusual. Milena's journal, however, was missing, raising further questions. The police pursued every lead they could with the limited resources they had. One of their final independent efforts was to search the local landfill. But this labor-intensive task proved too difficult for the small department to handle alone. Recognizing the severity of the situation and the potential need for greater expertise and manpower, local authorities reached out for federal assistance. On May 27th, just 2 days after the disappearance, help arrived. The FBI, U.S. Customs and Border Protection, and the U.S. Marshals Service joined the investigation. Homeland Security and the DEA also sent personnel to assist. With these powerful agencies involved, the search effort expanded dramatically. A force of 500 volunteers combed through the island's rugged terrain. U.S. Navy helicopters and a C-130 aircraft from the Air Force flew aerial searches over the jungles. Divers scoured the surrounding beaches, and a specially trained tracking dog from Hawaii was brought in to navigate the thick jungle. Quarantine laws were even waived to expedite the canine's arrival. Despite the immense effort and coordination, no trace of the two sisters was ever found. Their disappearance remains one of the most baffling and heartbreaking mysteries in the history of the Northern Mariana Islands. The community was left with unanswered questions, and the girl's family continues to live with the pain of not knowing what happened. Years later, the case of Paloma and Malena Look still haunts those who remember it. The photograph of two smiling young sisters, full of life, stands in sharp contrast to the emptiness left in their absence. Their disappearance serves as a chilling reminder of how quickly lives can change, even in the most peaceful and remote corners of the world. Despite the lack of answers, their memory lives on in the hearts of those who search for justice and truth. The mysterious 1566 celestial phenomenon over Basel. In the summer of 1566, the skies above Basel, Switzerland, became the stage for one of the most mysterious and widely witnessed celestial events in recorded history. Spanning over several days, specifically July 27th, July 28th, and August 7th, a series of strange and dramatic occurrences in the sky were observed by numerous residents of the city and surrounding countryside. These events were later documented in a printed pamphlet by the Basel historian Samuel Coccius, who interpreted them through a religious lens. However, the phenomena have since drawn the attention of historians, meteorologists, and even UFO researchers, each offering different interpretations of what transpired in those eerie skies. According to the pamphlet, the first strange event occurred on July 27th. On that day, the sun reportedly shone brightly throughout the day, but around 9 in the evening, its appearance began to change dramatically. Witnesses claimed the sun dimmed and took on the size and shape of the full moon, eventually appearing to weep tears of blood, while the sky behind it darkened ominously. The moon, nearly full at the time, also took on a deep, unsettling red hue. Such a dramatic transformation of both sun and moon deeply alarmed those who witnessed it, leading Coccius and others to believe the events carried divine or apocalyptic significance. The following day, July 28th, the sun once again behaved abnormally. It rose around 6 o'clock, but retained the eerie, blood-red coloration it had exhibited the night before. The sky and buildings were bathed in this red light, casting an unnatural glow over the city. The sun's persistence in this altered state only reinforced the belief among many at the time that the heavens were sending a message, perhaps one of warning, judgment, or divine intervention. However, the most dramatic spectacle came on August 7th. In the early hours of the morning, just before sunrise, witnesses reported seeing large black spheres moving rapidly through the sky. These spheres, numbering in the dozens, seemed to move with coordination and purpose, as if engaging in a kind of battle. Some of the spheres were described as fiery red, while others appeared to collide, crumble, or vanish into the ether. The phenomenon unfolded in full view of the rising sun, creating a surreal and chaotic scene that left witnesses in awe and confusion. While Coccius framed these occurrences as divine signs, consistent with the religious interpretation common in 16th century Europe, modern scholars have explored alternative explanations. Historians and meteorologists have speculated about the atmospheric conditions that might have produced such vivid and strange visual effects. Some suggest rare weather events, atmospheric optics, or even volcanic activity elsewhere in the world may have contributed to the unusual sun and moon appearances. However, it is the August 7th event, the apparent battle of black and fiery spheres, that has captured the imagination of UFO researchers. To some in the modern era, the description bears a striking resemblance to unidentified flying objects, or UFOs, engaging in some kind of coordinated movement or confrontation. The speed, shape, and behavior of the spheres, particularly their seeming ability to vanish or crumble mid-air, have led some to theorize that this was not a natural event at all, but a sky battle between unknown craft. This interpretation is further supported by similar reports from the 15th and 16th centuries, where leaflets often described miraculous or unexplainable spectacles in the sky. Regardless of the interpretation, be it religious, natural, or extraterrestrial, the 1566 Basel celestial phenomenon remains one of the most compelling and mysterious events in early modern European history. The fact that so many people witnessed and documented the event, including its unusual progression over several days, suggests that something extraordinary did occur. Whether a dramatic atmospheric anomaly or something far more mysterious, the skies over Basel in 1566 continue to provoke fascination and debate to this day. What happened to the statue of Athena at the Parthenon? Towering high above the city of Athens, the Parthenon remains one of the most iconic symbols of ancient Greece and classical civilization. With its magnificent Doric columns and marble foundations, the Parthenon endures as a testament to the ingenuity and artistry of 5th century BCE Athens. Yet, while the temple itself still stands, scarred by centuries but undeniably present, its most sacred and awe-inspiring centerpiece is gone. The statue of Athena Parthenos, the colossal gold and ivory figure of the city's patron goddess, has vanished. Once considered the crowning jewel of Athenian craftsmanship, the statue's fate remains one of antiquity's most enduring mysteries. Constructed between 447 BCE and 438 BCE, the Athena Parthenos was the work of the celebrated sculptor Phidias, commissioned during the golden age of Periclean Athens. Standing approximately 11.5 meters tall, the statue was chryselephantine, composed of ivory for Athena's skin and sheets of gold for her garments and armor, all supported by a wooden frame. The craftsmanship was extraordinary. Athena held a smaller statue of Nike, the goddess of victory, in her outstretched right hand, while in her left she gripped a massive spear. A detailed shield rested at her side, adorned with elaborate scenes from Greek myth, including the battles of the Amazons and the giants. A coiled serpent curled at her feet, symbolizing wisdom and protection. From her helmet to the soles of her sandals, the statue was rich in symbolism, power, and divine grandeur. Although the statue remained intact and revered for many years, its decline began in the 3rd century BCE. During this time, the tyrant Lascaris, in need of resources during a siege, ordered the statue stripped of its gold. The act was both sacrilegious and pragmatic, as the precious metal was melted down to mint coins. Though this desecration damaged the statue's magnificence, the structure itself may have remained standing. Some scholars suggest that after Lascaris' fall, efforts were made to recover the statue in gold leaf or substitute materials to restore its grandeur. Tragically, the statue may have faced its most destructive blow in the 2nd century BCE. Though there are no surviving textual records of such an event, archaeological evidence suggests a significant fire occurred in the Parthenon around 165 BCE. The fire was intense enough to damage the statue's base, leading scholars to believe that the wooden and ivory materials of the original Athena Parthenos were consumed in the blaze. Given the delicate and flammable nature of its construction, it is likely that the original statue did not survive this inferno. However, Athena may not have left her temple for long. In the aftermath of the fire, replicas and restorations of the statue began to appear in coins, miniature statues, and literary references. A new version of the Athena Parthenos was likely commissioned, reaffirming the cultural and spiritual significance of the goddess to the Athenians. Writers such as Pliny the Elder, Plutarch, and Pausanias describe the statue in their works, suggesting that a replacement was erected and admired for centuries afterward. The replica may not have matched Phidias's original in material or artistic achievement, but it continued to draw reverence and maintain Athena's presence within her sacred temple. The second Athena Parthenos stood for several more centuries, enduring into the twilight of the ancient pagan world. By the 5th century CE, the Roman Empire had shifted its religious allegiance to Christianity, and temples dedicated to pagan deities began to be repurposed or destroyed. The Parthenon itself was converted into a Christian church dedicated to the Virgin Mary. During this transitional period, many idols and symbols of the old gods were removed or destroyed. The philosopher Marinus of Samaria, writing in the Life of Proclus, cryptically noted that the statue had been removed by the Christian people who moved that which should not be moved, indicating that the statue was no longer in the Parthenon by the late 5th century. Where the statue went next remains one of history's unanswered questions. Some believe it was transported to Constantinople, the Byzantine capital, much like other famed statues of the classical world. The colossal statue of Zeus at Olympia, also attributed to Phidias, is thought to have suffered a similar fate. Supporting this theory, is a 9th century account by the Byzantine scholar Arethus of Caesarea, who described a statue resembling Athena in the Forum of Constantine, among other masterpieces of ancient Greece. It is possible that this statue was the final incarnation, or even the original Athena Parthenos, relocated to protect it, or to showcase it, in the new center of imperial power. If the statue did reach Constantinople, it may have survived for centuries until the catastrophic events of the Fourth Crusade in 1204 CE, when the city was violently sacked by Western European armies. Countless treasures were looted or destroyed during the Crusaders' rampage through the city, and the Forum of Constantine, where the statue may have stood, was ravaged by fire and pillaging. If Athena's likeness survived until then, it likely met its end in the chaos of this brutal event. What makes the story of the Athena Parthenos so captivating is not only its artistic grandeur, but also the complete silence surrounding its disappearance. No detailed contemporary account survives to describe its final moments. A statue that once stood as the heart of a city, a symbol of divinity, wisdom and protection, simply vanished from the annals of history. While fragments of its design and scattered descriptions endure, the statue itself, whether burned, dismantled or stolen, has become a ghost of classical antiquity. The mystery of the Athena Parthenos serves as a solemn reminder of how even the most revered icons can fade into obscurity. Through war, religious change and time itself, an artwork once regarded as the pinnacle of human achievement vanished without a trace. Yet, in its absence, the legend of Athena Parthenos lives on, inspiring scholars, artists and storytellers to imagine the beauty and grandeur of what once stood at the heart of Athens. The mysterious Falcon Lake incident. Inarguably, a profoundly captivating and potentially one of the most reliable UFO sightings, not just in the year 1967, but conceivably throughout history, took place in the scenic landscapes of Canada. This extraordinary event was not only remarkable for its time, but has also left a lasting imprint on the annals of UFO encounters. The incident that took place on the 20th of May 1967, commonly known as the Michalak encounter, continues to be a topic of interest and investigation in present times. On that particular day, Stefan Michalak, a 51-year-old mechanic, was exploring the rugged and dense woodlands bordering Falcon Lake in pursuit of rare, valuable or intriguing minerals. This expedition took place within the confines of Whiteshell Provincial Park in the Manitoba region of Canada, a significant distance of approximately 80 miles from his residence in Winnipeg. While engrossed in examining what he believed to be a piece of quartz crystal, a sudden uproar from the surrounding wildlife captured his attention. Gazing skyward, Stefan observed two luminous red, oval-shaped entities through the canopy of trees, swiftly advancing towards him. Upon closer inspection, he noticed the unusual speed at which these objects were approaching, escalating the intrigue of the encounter. The unexpected convergence of wildlife commotion and the emergence of the mysterious glowing shapes infused a sense of curiosity and mild apprehension within Stefan, prompting a mixed rush of emotions. The surreal nature of the sighting and the swift movement of the objects left him momentarily stunned, his mind contemplating the possible origins and intentions of these mysterious visitors. An atmosphere of both wonder and caution enveloped Stefan. As he gazed ahead, observing the scene unfold before him, one of the objects descended gracefully, finally settling on a cluster of rugged rocks situated roughly 160 feet away from his vantage point. Simultaneously, the second object remained suspended above him at a distance of about 15 feet, seemingly in perfect equilibrium. Suddenly, without warning, it swiftly ascended into the sky, propelled by an unseen force, disappearing into the vast expanse above. In a secluded spot on the rocks, the mysterious object maintained its position, mirroring the stillness of Michalak, who was observant of the unfolding events. A sensation of intense warmth enveloped the air, creating an unusual ambience around him. The object underwent a remarkable transformation, a spectacle that captivated Michalak's attention as it cycled through a series of color changes. Initially crimson, then transitioning to a somber grey, before finally settling into a radiant hue resembling hot stainless steel embellished with a golden aura. In his later account, Michalak described the door of the craft as having a unique combination of being square yet with rounded edges, further detailing how a vibrant purple light emanated from within the mysterious object. Additionally, he vividly recounted experiencing waves of warm air enveloping him and the unmistakable scent of sulfur lingering in the air. The mention of the sulfur smell holds particular significance, as it is a common element noticed in various encounters of close extraterrestrial contact. This observation not only adds to the authenticity of his experience, but also aligns with recurring themes in similar reports of such encounters. As he approached the mysterious craft, a distinct buzzing noise, reminiscent of a rapid-running miniature electric motor, resonated in his ears. The closer he moved, the clearer the voices became, and he gradually discerned that they were indeed human, albeit with extremely high pitches. The atmosphere around the craft seemed to hum with an otherworldly energy, intensifying his curiosity. As he inched closer, the voices grew in clarity, eventually revealing their human quality, albeit significantly high-pitched. In a bid to establish communication, he vocalized in a variety of languages, spanning from English and Russian to French, Italian, and Ukrainian. However, his calls remained unanswered. Drawing nearer to the mysterious vessel, he found himself in such proximity that he could almost feel its surface. Equipping himself with the protective eyewear typically utilized for chiseling rocks, he resolved to peer inside the craft. With a deep breath, he cautiously extended his head through the entrance, intrigued by what lay beyond. The mysterious allure of the alien structure beckoned him, stirring a mix of apprehension and curiosity within him. In the midst of his surroundings, a complex network of vibrant lights awaited him, some flickering incessantly. Among them were straight beams traversing both horizontal and diagonal paths. As he observed, the lights seemed to lack any discernible arrangement or order, operating in what he perceived as a haphazard manner. Shifting his focus downward, he scrutinized the floor, detecting a seamless surface without any visible seams or connections to the overhead walls. This peculiar lack of distinct boundaries is a recurring detail often noted in numerous encounters involving unidentified flying objects. The spacecraft's tilting movement resulted in one of its machines coming into contact with the man's chest, causing him to experience an immediate and intense searing pain across his torso. What alarmed him even more was the fact that his glove had partially melted from his hand and his shirt had caught fire. In response, he quickly moved away from the craft, shedding the burning shirt in the process. At that moment, he also observed that the craft had lifted slightly off the ground. Suddenly, a rush of hot air enveloped him, and just as swiftly as it had appeared, the object ascended rapidly into the sky. This series of events left him with a mixture of physical discomfort and awe at the disappearing craft. Upon reflection, Makalak paused to compose himself, his mind clouded with bewilderment and searing agony as he gradually made his way towards his parked vehicle situated along the highway. His destination was Misericordia Hospital, where he sought treatment for the severe burns that plagued his chest. After seeking medical assistance, he proceeded to inform the Royal Canadian Mounted Police about the incident, although their response was limited to compiling a basic report, offering minimal assistance in addressing the situation. Upon the emergence of the incident in the local media and radio broadcasts, a plethora of UFO investigators were swiftly drawn to the scene, driven by a keen interest to engage with Michalak and delve deeper into the mysterious occurrence. Notably, Michalak bore a peculiar checkered burn mark on his chest, suspected to have been sustained during his contact with the machinery inside the unidentified object. In the aftermath, he grappled with severe illness for an extended period, marked by persistent bouts of intense nausea and the struggle to retain any form of sustenance. Furthermore, several weeks later, Michalak began to manifest distressing symptoms, including painful blisters on his torso and an unusual rash that traced a distinct V-shaped pattern from his ears down to his chest. The lingering effects of the encounter continued to afflict Michalak long after the initial incident, portraying a complex and enduring narrative of his ordeal. Throughout the next several weeks, despite experiencing a return to normal health overall, the individual continued to face intermittent health setbacks. A notable incident occurred in September of 1967, when he once again sought medical attention due to the emergence of peculiar, sizable spots on his torso. Additionally, he reported experiencing a pronounced sensation of heat and discomfort around his neck and chest region. These symptoms were accompanied by sporadic instances of lightheadedness and significant swelling in the joints of his hands. This ongoing struggle with health issues highlighted the complexity and unpredictability of his condition during this period. Despite temporary periods of improvement, the individual faced persistent challenges and fluctuations in his well-being, underscoring the need for continued monitoring and care. Following a period of initial disinterest in his account, Michalak's claims gained traction due to mounting pressure from UFO researchers and public intrigue, prompting the RCMP and the Canadian Air Force to undertake a more thorough investigation. As the inquiry progressed, Michalak, accompanied by investigators and an electrical engineer, successfully pinpointed the exact location of the incident. To the astonishment of all involved, a distinct and unmistakable outline of the ship was discovered imprinted on the ground, becoming a pivotal piece of tangible evidence in the case's unfolding narrative. This unexpected turn of events not only heightened the seriousness of the investigation, but also fueled further curiosity and speculation among both the authorities and the wider community following the case. In addition to retrieving the charred shirt torn from his back by Michalak upon being propelled from the spacecraft, efforts were made to collect any remaining fragments. Observers also noted a concerning phenomenon in the area surrounding the craft's touchdown site. The trees and vegetation appeared to be desiccated and lifeless, indicating a significant impact on the immediate environment. This occurrence raised questions about the potential environmental repercussions of the craft's presence, hinting at the possibility of a more profound ecological disturbance than initially perceived. The occurrence at Falcon Lake ultimately lingers as a mystery, perpetuating intrigue and speculation within UFO research circles. Despite the lack of definitive answers, a significant number of experts in the field consider Stefan Michalak to be a highly credible observer, viewing his account as both genuine and sincere. Tragically, Michalak's passing transpired in October 1999, precisely 32 years subsequent to the mysterious encounter, at the age of 83. The giant pyramid seen above Washington. In December 2018, a remarkable event unfolded in the skies above one of the most secure and well-known locations on Earth, the Pentagon. According to numerous eyewitness accounts, a large, pyramid-shaped object was seen hovering above the Pentagon during the night, seemingly defying gravity and the usual understanding of aerial technology. This mysterious object was reportedly caught on camera from various angles by multiple witnesses, and the footage soon found its way to social media platforms, where it quickly went viral. The event was discussed widely, with many speculating about the origin and purpose of the UFO. However, in the years since the sighting, especially by 2024, much of the footage and photographic evidence has become increasingly difficult to find, leading some to suggest that the majority of this evidence has been quietly deleted from the internet, raising suspicions about a potential cover-up. The pyramid-shaped UFO spotted above the Pentagon in 2018 immediately stood out due to both its unusual shape and its location. The object was described as being massive in size, stationary, and hovering directly above the Pentagon, a symbol of US military power. Multiple reports stated that the object was either emitting a faint glow or reflecting light from the surrounding city. The event took place at night, making the illumination of the object even more conspicuous against the dark sky. What made this particular UFO sighting stand out even more was the number of angles from which the object was reportedly filmed. Various witnesses across different parts of Washington, D.C. and Northern Virginia captured images and videos of the object from their phones, providing multiple perspectives of the event. These videos circulated widely on social media platforms like Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The pyramid shape of the UFO led to a flurry of speculation online, with theories ranging from experimental military technology to extraterrestrial visitors. For a brief time, the Pentagon UFO became a viral sensation, attracting the attention of not only UFO enthusiasts, but also mainstream media. Some news outlets covered the sighting, though coverage was generally cautious, focusing more on the strange nature of the event rather than offering any definitive explanation. Initial attempts by skeptics to debunk the footage were met with difficulty, as the object did not conform to conventional explanations like weather balloons, drones, or aircraft. Despite the initial excitement surrounding the pyramid-shaped UFO sighting, by 2024, finding the original videos and images has become an increasingly difficult task. Searches for footage on popular video-sharing platforms and social media yield few results, and many of the original posts appear to have been taken down. Even on discussion forums like Reddit and UFO-specific websites, references to the event are often accompanied by broken links or claims that videos have been removed. This slow disappearance of evidence has sparked speculation that the footage may have been deliberately suppressed or deleted. While it is not uncommon for some content to be removed from the internet for various reasons, such as copyright issues or inactivity, the near-total erasure of evidence related to such a significant sighting has raised eyebrows. Many UFO enthusiasts have pointed to this as a potential cover-up, suggesting that authorities may have acted to suppress the evidence due to the sensitive location of the sighting or because the object represented advanced technology that needed to remain classified. The idea that much of the footage has been erased from the internet adds a layer of intrigue to the event. In today's hyper-connected world, it is exceedingly rare for something as public as a UFO sighting, especially one witnessed and filmed by multiple people, to effectively disappear. The difficulty in locating footage of the pyramid-shaped UFO has given rise to theories that government agencies or private contractors may have intervened to remove the content. With the footage of the event now scarce, speculation has intensified about what really happened over the Pentagon in December 2018. One popular theory is that the object was an advanced piece of military technology, possibly part of a secretive program to develop new types of aircraft or defense systems. The Pentagon has long been associated with clandestine research and development projects, and some believe that the pyramid-shaped UFO was a prototype of a new craft that had not yet been disclosed to the public. According to this theory, the sudden removal of the footage is part of an effort to maintain secrecy surrounding this technology. Another theory, more favored by UFO enthusiasts, is that the object was not of earthly origin, but rather an extraterrestrial craft. The pyramid shape, which is less common in UFO sightings than the traditional saucer or triangular shapes, has led some to suggest that the object may represent a type of advanced technology that has not been widely encountered before. Advocates of this theory point to the location of the sighting, the Pentagon, as potentially significant. If advanced visitors were interested in observing human military power or conducting reconnaissance, the Pentagon would be a logical place for such an observation. Others have suggested that the object might have been part of a joint human extraterrestrial project. This theory, often dismissed as too speculative, posits that secret collaborations between government agencies and alien visitors could be taking place, and that the pyramid-shaped object was one manifestation of this cooperation. According to this line of thinking, the removal of footage would be necessary to prevent the public from becoming aware of such activities. The difficulty in finding images and footage of the 2018 Pentagon UFO has led many to question whether a deliberate effort has been made to erase this event from public memory. While some point to technical reasons for the disappearance, such as social media platforms automatically deleting old posts or users voluntarily removing content, others see a more deliberate hand at work. The fact that footage of a large, pyramid-shaped object hovering above one of the most secure buildings in the world is now nearly impossible to find only deepens the sense that something is being hidden. The pyramids located in Egypt have consistently been the subject of countless ideas and theories. Since their first discovery, scientists and scholars have made ongoing efforts to unravel the mysterious nature of their construction. Recently, there has been a disclosure of KGB files holding fascinating information about a celestial being that was recovered from inside the Great Pyramid. Dr. Viktor Ivanovich, a science advisor for an advanced propulsion system, has uncovered significant information concerning a secretive project. Dr. Ivanovich revealed that the KGB deployed covert operatives within the Egyptian government. These operatives recorded phone conversations related to the renowned pyramids with the intention of conducting surveillance. The freshly disclosed files provide insight into a fascinating event in history, indicating an exceptional correlation between a divine entity and the ancient Egyptians. Dr. Viktor Ivanovich, renowned for his profound knowledge in cutting-edge propulsion systems, revealed extraordinary revelations on the clandestine operation. In 1960, Dr. Ivanovich made a key discovery involving Sami Sharif, the Egyptian Minister of Presidential Affairs. a fascinating Egyptian tape recording was extensively featured during the airing of the television series Secret KGB Files. This intriguing recording, originating from July 24, 1961, was presented during the show, providing valuable insights into a significant historical event. The individuals involved in the mission reportedly encountered a well-preserved ancient extraterrestrial in 1961. The objective of the project involved the participation of numerous Egyptologists from the Soviet Academy of Sciences, as well as scientists and military professionals. Sami Sharaf, a trusted associate of President Gamal Abdel Nasser of Egypt, commanded the squad. The initial mention of this remarkable narrative occurred during the mission in the video, which was later described as a covert Russian expedition conducted in Egypt in 1961. The objective of the mission was to reveal the tomb of the visitor. The documentary, titled The Secret KGB Files, was initially presented to the public in 1998 by the United States. The documentary states that there is a film that provides evidence of a segment of the classified mission. The film depicting the covert operation was released by a Russian intermediary who asserts to have acquired it from the classified archives of the KGB. The video, presented in black and white, depicts Soviet workers retrieving what seems to be a mummified alien from a sarcophagus found in a tomb on the Giza Plateau. Forensic specialists, as reported by the news channel who hosted the video, have verified the video's veracity. They claim to have acquired the film from Russian insiders and assert that it originates from the vaults of the KGB. Testimonies from senior officials appear to support the claim that the sarcophagus, retrieved by Russian military forces, indeed held the remains of an extraterrestrial entity. Dr. Ivanovich provides his expertise as an astrophysicist and neurologist and discloses that the presence of this mysterious being originated from the celestial realm and shared their exceptional wisdom and knowledge with the people of Earth before eventually leaving. In addition, Dr. Ivanovich reveals a surprising revelation that one of these celestial beings actually passed away on our planet. In order to pay tribute to and safeguard the remembrance of this divine being, a hidden tomb of the highest level of confidentiality was covertly built inside the majestic pyramid. Remarkably, senior Egyptian officials recently revealed this astonishing fact during a private telephone discussion. Since then, several researchers have endeavored to find the exact location of the hidden burial chamber. Reports indicate that Egyptian authorities, in collaboration with officials from many nations, have effectively retrieved the creature from the pyramid and securely stored it in a heavily fortified location. Secret 30-foot chamber found inside the Great Pyramid. The pyramids of Egypt, especially the Great Pyramids of Giza, stand as some of the most iconic and mysterious structures in human history. Currently, historians and experts believe that they were built during the Old Kingdom period, and these monumental structures have fascinated archaeologists and the general public for centuries. Despite extensive study and numerous theories, the pyramids remain shrouded in mystery. The sheer precision and scale of the pyramids are among the primary reasons they remain unexplained. The Great Pyramid of Giza, for instance, was constructed with such accuracy that the sides of the base have an average error of just 58 millimeters in length. The alignment of the pyramid to the cardinal points is also remarkably precise, deviating only slightly from true north. Achieving this level of accuracy would be challenging even with modern technology, yet the ancient Egyptians accomplished it using tools made of stone, copper, and bronze. The Great Pyramid has long captivated researchers, scientists, and amateur Egyptologists. Currently, emerging technologies are aiding scientists in gaining a deeper understanding of the internal composition of the pyramid. Recently, researchers have utilized non-invasive technologies to uncover a 30-foot passageway inside the pyramid. While the purpose of the secret realm remains unknown to them, they hold the belief that there could be similar spaces in existence. In the 19th century, scientists commenced the process of exhuming and excavating Egyptian pyramids. It was discovered that architects intentionally created the pyramids with inside chambers in order to safeguard the pharaohs and their valuable possessions from potential thieves. Excavating the interior of a pyramid posed a significant threat of causing irreparable damage to its structure. Consequently, for over 100 years, researchers were left to conjecture about the contents concealed within. Nevertheless, in the past few decades, non-destructive methods like cosmic ray detectors and infrared thermography have been assisting scholars in examining pyramids without inflicting harm. A concealed 30-foot tunnel was further elucidated in a 2023 study published in the scientific journal Nature by an international consortium of academics hailing from Egypt, France, and Japan. The corridor has a width of approximately 6 feet and is located above the main entrance on the north side of the pyramid. The study team, affiliated with the Scan Pyramids project, initially discovered the existence of a corridor and an additional vacant area referred to as the Big Void in 2016 and 2017 respectively. The architects of the pyramids likely constructed the corridor with the intention of evenly distributing the weight and therefore safeguarding the pyramid against collapse. The experts have not entered the tunnel for thousands of years, but they assume that the design was intentional. The content beyond the end of the corridor is uncertain. The Scan Pyramids teams employed a divide-and-conquer strategy in order to get insight into the interior of the pyramid. 2 Japanese teams entered familiar chambers located beneath the corridor in order to gain a more comprehensive understanding of its structure. A team of French individuals operated externally. Each individual utilized a cosmic ray muon detector of their own to ascertain the quantity of muons that were absorbed by the building. A decreased number of muons would suggest that the rock possesses a substantial mass and high density. A greater intensity of rays indicated the absence of any obstructions hindering their passage. Once the teams analyzed their findings and assessed the size of the area, they were authorized to insert an endoscopic camera into the corridor through a narrow opening. The laborers responsible for constructing the pyramid were the final individuals to have access to the corridor's interior. Nevertheless, the camera footage offered a unique opportunity to see inside the concealed chamber and unveiled its distinctive design. Launched in 2015, this project aimed to use advanced, non-invasive technologies to explore the internal structures of Egypt's ancient pyramids without causing damage to these precious monuments. The Scan Pyramids team employed several cutting-edge technologies to detect the hidden voids. The primary method was muon tomography, which uses cosmic rays to create images of the pyramid's interior. Muons are subatomic particles that can penetrate deep into solid materials. By placing detectors inside and outside the pyramid, scientists can measure the muon flux and create a 3-dimensional map of its internal structure. Differences in muon density reveal the presence of voids or less dense areas within the pyramid. In addition to the Big Void, the Scan Pyramids team identified several smaller voids and anomalies. These include a corridor-like void behind the chevrons on the north face of the pyramid and a smaller cavity near the pyramid's entrance. These discoveries indicate that the pyramid's internal structure is more complex than previously thought and may contain additional hidden chambers and passageways. One of the most intriguing questions raised by the discovery of the hidden voids is their role in the pyramid's construction. Some researchers suggest that these voids may have been used to reduce the weight of the stone blocks above the Grand Gallery and other critical areas, preventing structural collapse. Alternatively, they could have served as temporary construction spaces or areas for workers to maneuver large blocks into place. The construction of the pyramids required a massive labor force, yet the logistics of assembling and maintaining such a workforce remain unclear. Estimates suggest that tens of thousands of workers were needed, but how they were organized, housed, sustained, and if this was even what happened during the pyramid's construction is still a topic of debate. The exact methods of quarrying, transporting and assembling the massive stone blocks, some weighing as much as 80 tons, add another layer of complexity to the mystery. The pyramid's precise alignment with celestial bodies indicates an advanced understanding of astronomy. The Great Pyramid, for example, is aligned with remarkable accuracy to the cardinal points and the stars of Orion's belt. This suggests that the ancient Egyptians had sophisticated knowledge of the stars and their movements. The question remains how this knowledge was acquired and applied with such precision. The design and construction of the pyramids required advanced mathematical knowledge. The dimensions of the Great Pyramid, for instance, embody the golden ratio and demonstrate an understanding of pi. The fact that such mathematical concepts were used in construction long before they were formally documented in other cultures suggests that the Egyptians had a level of mathematical sophistication that is not fully understood. One of the most puzzling aspects of the pyramids is the lack of detailed contemporary records explaining their construction. While there are inscriptions and documents that provide some information about the pharaohs who commissioned the pyramids, there is little in the way of detailed engineering plans or records of the construction process. This absence of documentation makes it difficult to understand the methods and technologies used by the builders. The passage of millennia has likely resulted in the loss of crucial knowledge about the construction techniques and purposes of the pyramids. Natural degradation, human activity, and historical upheavals have contributed to the erosion of records and artifacts that might have explained these mysteries. What remains are the structures themselves and a few scattered clues, leaving much to speculation and interpretation. One of the more controversial theories is that the pyramids were built with the assistance of advanced beings or a lost civilization. Proponents of this theory argue that the precision, scale, and advanced knowledge required to build the pyramids exceed the capabilities of ancient human societies. While this theory lacks empirical evidence and is generally dismissed by the scientific community, it highlights the sense of wonder and disbelief that the pyramids inspire. Another theory posits that the ancient Egyptians possessed advanced technology that has since been lost to history. This could include sophisticated tools or techniques for moving and assembling large stone blocks. The lack of physical evidence for such technology means this theory remains speculative, but it underscores the possibility that there are aspects of ancient Egyptian society that we have yet to discover or understand. The pyramids of Egypt, especially the Great Pyramids of Giza, remain shrouded in mystery for several reasons. The precision and scale of their construction, the advanced knowledge of astronomy and mathematics required, the lack of detailed historical documentation, and the numerous theories and speculations all contribute to their mysterious nature. These ancient monuments stand as testaments to the ingenuity and capabilities of the ancient Egyptians, and their mysteries continue to captivate the imagination. As technology advances and new discoveries are made, we may come closer to understanding the full story behind the pyramids, but for now, they remain one of history's greatest mysteries. Deep within the dense forests, a man stumbled upon a giant wall, a mysterious structure that has sparked intrigue and speculation. The story begins with a man, an avid hiker and amateur archaeologist who frequently explored the Siberian wilderness. On a particularly long expedition in the summer, the man said that he ventured deeper into the forest than ever before. As he navigated through the thick underbrush and towering trees, he came across something utterly unexpected, a massive wall, partially obscured by vegetation but unmistakably artificial in its construction. The wall, which many have said is stretching over a mile in length and standing approximately 20 meters high, appeared to be made of large, tightly fitted stones. Despite the passage of time, the structure showed remarkable integrity, with only minor signs of weathering and erosion. The stones suggest a level of engineering sophistication that seemed incongruous with the known history of the region. The man's discovery quickly attracted attention. After documenting his find with photographs and videos, he shared the information with social media groups in order to get to the bottom of the mysterious structure. A team of archaeologists and historians was assembled to investigate the site, hoping to uncover the origins and purpose of the mysterious wall. The initial examination revealed several intriguing aspects. The discovery of the wall has given rise to numerous theories and speculations. Megalithic stone walls are renowned for their construction techniques, which often involve the precise cutting and fitting of massive stones. Some of these stones weigh several tons, and their placement would have required significant manpower and advanced engineering skills. The stones are typically fitted together with such precision that a knife blade cannot be inserted between them. Some researchers believe that certain megalithic walls were constructed as part of religious or ceremonial sites. The precise alignments and orientations of the stones in relation to astronomical events suggest that these structures may have had significant cultural and spiritual importance. The presence of similar construction techniques and architectural styles in different parts of the world raises questions about cultural interconnections and the spread of knowledge. While it is unlikely that these ancient societies had direct contact with each other, The similarities in their constructions suggest parallel developments in engineering and architecture. This phenomenon could be attributed to shared human ingenuity and the universal challenges of building durable structures. One of the most prominent theories suggests that the wall is the remnant of an ancient civilization previously unknown to historians. This civilization, perhaps contemporaneous with or even predating known cultures such as the Scythians or the Mongols, might have constructed the wall for defensive purposes, as a territorial marker, or for ceremonial use. The scale and sophistication of the construction imply a society with advanced engineering capabilities and organizational skills. Some researchers have proposed that the wall could be a natural formation, the result of unique geological processes, or possibly even placed there. They argue that the regularity of the stones and their arrangement could be explained by natural fractures and weathering patterns. However, the precision of the construction and the presence of inscriptions make this theory less convincing to many researchers. In the realm of more speculative theories, some have suggested that the wall could be evidence of extraterrestrial influence. Proponents of this idea point to the inexplicable engineering techniques and the use of non-local materials as indicators that the wall might have been constructed with the assistance of or inspired by visitors. While this theory captures the imagination, it lacks empirical support and is generally not favored by the scientific community. The discovery of the giant wall in Siberia has significant implications for our understanding of history and archaeology. If the wall is indeed the product of an ancient civilization, its discovery could necessitate a re-evaluation of the history of human settlement and development in Siberia. It might reveal new insights into migration patterns, technological advancements, and cultural exchanges in prehistoric times. Such a finding would enrich our understanding of human history and the complexities of early civilizations. The investigation of the wall has also highlighted the importance of integrating modern technology with traditional archaeological methods. Techniques such as ground-penetrating radar, 3D imaging, and drone surveys have been employed to explore the site more comprehensively, allowing researchers to gather detailed data without intrusive excavation. These advancements could revolutionize the field of archaeology, enabling more precise and less invasive exploration of historical sites. This man found two mysterious stone spheres. People began speculating about the two enormous stone spheres that a man had recently discovered concealed inside a forest. Many explanations have already been offered for what they are, such as being space junk or remnants of an extinct society. Head of the Space Policy Institute scientist Ivan Moiseev clarified that NASA can detect asteroids as small as 2 meters, which is roughly the size of these stone balls. He added that if these had really fallen from space, the Space Institute would have found evidence of them passing through the atmosphere. Alexander Ivanov, the director of the Center for Astronomy and Cosmonautics, agreed with this notion. It has been stated that shortly after their discovery, individuals dressed in military uniforms hit them with hammers. There is currently very little information available on them, but according to one user, the people in question are employed by the local forest service, and they damaged the stone spheres as soon as they learned about them. One of the workers said that they did this in order to avoid violations of environmental legislation. Those who live nearby and were aware of the finding opposed this, arguing that the city should have taken them in for inspection or allowed the public to view them. Only a few websites have currently featured this subject, and it's unclear exactly when they were found and why they were destroyed. It's interesting to note that this stone ball reminded several people of Costa Rica's stone spheres. The stone balls have been mentioned numerous times throughout history, and while there is still disagreement on their provenance and their function, some archaeologists have hypothesized that they served as representations of solar systems. These spheres, which are dispersed across Costa Rica's jungles, were first discovered in the Taraba River Delta and have since been located as far north as the Estrella Valley and as far south as the mouth of the Coto Colorado River. The objects were enormous, with most measuring up to 2 meters in diameter and weighing over 16 tons, so it doesn't seem like a simple task. It was once thought that these spheres had a function in that they matched constellations in the sky, and that these tails reflected the constellation from which the gods had come, according to ancient Costa Rican mythology and evidence uncovered by archaeologists. According to amateur scholars who have spent countless years studying these stones, the spheres may have functioned as an early star chart, representing a very particular constellation as described by the ancient gods in an effort to reveal to humankind their home planet when the time was right. Unfortunately, after being found, the Costa Rican stone spheres were either removed from their original site by archaeologists and researchers or taken by treasure seekers who thought the spheres held gold treasures that could be sold on markets, precious antiques, or ancient artifacts. Because of this, the actual nature and archaeological context of the dispersed spheres are dubious at best. While a small number of stones may still remain in their original locations, hundreds more have either been completely destroyed, taken, or swept away by regional flooding. Despite the potential value of the remaining stones in terms of archaeological context and discovery, the discovery has, for some odd reason, remained mostly unrecognized and unacknowledged since it was made back in the 1940s. Curiously, residents in several parts of Brazil have claimed to have found these in undeveloped regions, only to learn that they had been taken out soon after. Stories such as these have led some people to speculate that the true origins of the spheres are unknown and that we will never know their true purpose until more investigation can be done. Several people have taken a different approach and suggested that these objects must be of special interest because officials are flown in to investigate and assess the damage shortly after reports of strange objects making contact with the ground. This is not the first time that strange objects have been observed making contact with the ground. Some witnesses who were in the area when these objects made contact with the ground have offered some intriguing theories. They also claim to have seen mysterious lights flashing moments before the objects made contact with the ground, and to have even had a close-up look at the object when it landed a few hundred meters away. The first people on the scene have stated that they are unable to identify the object in issue, but they have noted that the military is nearby and that they will be removing it for everyone's safety. This has occurred in a number of nations, including the UK, Mexico, Brazil, Australia, and the United States. Soon after seeing these items, witnesses expressed confusion over the reason behind the large number of authorities that they saw in the area and stated that the mysterious lights that were observed a few days prior to the object's descent could not be explained by a satellite or meteorite. According to amateur researchers, dense forests appear to be the location of a diverse spectrum of unexplained sightings, as well as unusual encounters that typically remain unexplained. Many people have reported seeing unusual occurrences in these areas over the years, but the lack of explanations has just let people's imaginations run wild. The Sabu disk, also known as the schist disk, is one of the most mysterious artifacts discovered in ancient Egypt. Found in the tomb of Sabu, the mysterious artifact has puzzled archaeologists and historians since its discovery by British Egyptologist Walter Bryan Emery in 1936. Despite its significance, there is a scarcity of reliable sources and comprehensive studies on this artifact, leaving many questions about its purpose and origin unanswered. The Mastaba tomb comprises 7 chambers, and the disk was discovered in Room E, the primary burial chamber, positioned centrally and in close proximity to the remains of Sabu, who was initially interred in a wooden coffin. The issue that many researchers have encountered is the complete absence of trustworthy sources regarding the investigation of this object. The most reliable information that can be found is a few conflicting websites. The artifact is made of a material known as schist, a type of metamorphic rock, and measures approximately 61 centimeters or 24 inches in diameter. Its shape is unique and complex, resembling a 3-lobed propeller or a wheel with curved triangular blades radiating from a central hub. Despite the initial excitement surrounding its discovery, there is a notable lack of detailed scholarly research and reliable sources on the Sabu disk. The primary source of information that remains is the excavation reports by Emery, which provide only a basic description and few insights into its potential use. Subsequent references to the disk in academic literature are sparse and often speculative, reflecting the broader challenges in studying and interpreting this enigmatic object. Several theories have been proposed to explain the function of the Sabu disk, although none have been conclusively proven. At the Airbus Research Centre, replicas of the disk were produced utilizing a 3D printer, and the tangible characteristics of the disk were analysed. The duplicates possessed aerodynamic characteristics and could function as a flying disc. The choice of schist as the material for the disc is significant. Schist is a durable and relatively lightweight stone, allowing for the construction of an object that is both strong and potentially capable of withstanding aerodynamic forces. The weight distribution of the disc, with its central hub and evenly spaced lobes, could theoretically contribute to stable rotational dynamics. If the Sabu disc were to be spun rapidly, the shape of the lobes could create differential air pressure, similar to the principles that allow modern helicopter blades to generate lift. The central hub could serve as a mounting point or axis of rotation, allowing the disc to spin smoothly and maintain stability in flight. The aerodynamic profile of the lobes suggests that they could cut through the air efficiently, reducing drag and enhancing lift. The ancient Egyptians are known for their remarkable achievements in engineering and architecture. The construction of the pyramids, sophisticated irrigation systems, and precise astronomical alignments of their monuments all demonstrate advanced technological capabilities. The possibility that they experimented with aerodynamic principles is not entirely far-fetched, given their innovative spirit and meticulous observational skills. Some scholars suggest that the Sabu disc might symbolize flight or celestial phenomena. Ancient Egyptian culture placed significant emphasis on the skies and celestial bodies, which were closely linked to their religious beliefs and practices. The disc could have been an artistic representation of their understanding of flight, or a ceremonial object intended to invoke the power of the gods associated with the sky and air. Modern experimental archaeologists have attempted to recreate the Sabu disc using similar materials and techniques available to ancient Egyptians. These experiments have shown that the disc, when spun, exhibits stable rotational behavior and generates lift. While these findings do not conclusively prove that the disc was intended as a flying object, they demonstrate its potential aerodynamic properties. One of the main challenges to the flying disc hypothesis is the lack of contextual evidence. The Sabu disc was discovered in a tomb, alongside other funerary artifacts. There are no contemporary records or inscriptions that explicitly describe its use or function as a flying object. The absence of direct evidence makes it difficult to confirm any theory definitively. Another theory suggests that the disc was a ceremonial object, possibly used in religious or ritualistic contexts. The intricate design and craftsmanship indicate it could have held symbolic significance, perhaps representing the solar disk or other celestial phenomena important in ancient Egyptian cosmology. Another theory posits that the Sabu disc was part of an ancient mechanical device. Some researchers have speculated that it might have been a component of a water pump or a primitive fan, although there is no direct evidence to support these claims. The precision and symmetry of the disc suggest it could have been part of a sophisticated mechanism. A more mundane explanation is that the disc was a spinning top or a toy used for entertainment or educational purposes. However, the complexity and size of the object make this theory less convincing. In addition to functional theories, the Sabu disc has also been interpreted symbolically. Some scholars suggest it may represent the technological and artistic prowess of early dynastic Egypt, reflecting the society's advanced understanding of geometry and design. Others believe it could symbolize power and authority, given its association with a royal tomb. As mentioned, one of the main challenges in interpreting the Sabu disc is the lack of contextual information. Emery's reports provide limited details about the disc's exact location within the tomb, its relationship to other artifacts, and its potential use. Without this contextual data, it is difficult to draw definitive conclusions about its purpose and significance. The disc itself is the only known example of its kind, making comparative analysis impossible. The absence of similar artifacts from the same period hinders efforts to understand its function and significance. Additionally, the fragmentary nature of the evidence leaves room for considerable speculation and debate. The study of the Sabu disc has been constrained by methodological limitations. Early archaeological techniques lacked the precision and technological capabilities of modern methods, resulting in incomplete documentation and analysis. Furthermore, the artifact has not been subjected to comprehensive scientific testing, such as materials analysis or experimental archaeology, which could provide valuable insights into its construction and use. The mystery of the Sabu disc underscores the importance of continued research and exploration in archaeology. Advances in technology and methodology hold the potential to unlock new insights and solve long-standing puzzles. Collaborative efforts between archaeologists, historians, and scientists could lead to a more comprehensive understanding of this mysterious artifact and its place within the broader context of ancient Egyptian civilization. As of right now, the Sabu disk remains one of the most intriguing and mysterious artifacts from ancient Egypt. The scarcity of reliable sources and detailed studies has left many questions about its purpose and origin unanswered. While various theories have been proposed, the lack of conclusive evidence continues to fuel speculation and debate. The study of the Sabu disk highlights the challenges and opportunities in archaeology, emphasizing the need for ongoing research and the application of advanced techniques to uncover the secrets of our past. The mysterious Tuli Papyrus. The Tuli Papyrus is one of the most intriguing and controversial documents in the study of ancient Egyptian history. Allegedly, it describes a series of mysterious and possibly extraterrestrial events witnessed by the pharaoh Thutmose III around 1480 BCE. Despite its captivating content, the authenticity and provenance of the Tuli Papyrus remain subjects of intense debate among historians, archaeologists, and UFO researchers. The Tuli Papyrus is named after Alberto Tulli, a former director of the Vatican's Egyptian Museum, who reportedly discovered the document in the 1930s in an antique shop in Cairo. According to accounts, Tulli could not afford to purchase the papyrus, but he was allowed to make a copy. This copy, supplemented by translations and annotations, forms the basis of what is now known as the Tuli Papyrus. The original papyrus has never been located, and the available information is based on the transcription allegedly made by Tulli. The document resurfaced in the 1950s when it was translated by Prince Boris de Rachwiltz, an Italian Egyptologist. His translation described extraordinary phenomena, which has since captivated UFO theorists and skeptics alike. The text of the Tuli Papyrus is often cited as an early account of unidentified flying objects. According to the translation, the papyrus describes a circle of fire that appeared in the sky, emitting a foul odor and causing great concern among the observers. The phenomenon reportedly occurred during the reign of Thutmose III, and the text recounts multiple sightings over several days. Assuming the Tuli Papyrus is genuine, its historical significance is profound. The document offers a rare glimpse into the intersection of religion, science, and the supernatural in ancient Egyptian society. The Tuli Papyrus serves as a corroborative document that aligns with other historical records from Thutmose III's reign. Known as one of Egypt's most successful pharaohs, Thutmose III expanded the empire through military conquests and monumental building projects. The papyrus adds a new dimension to his legacy, suggesting that his reign was also marked by remarkable celestial events. The papyrus underscores the centrality of religion in ancient Egyptian life. The described response to the aerial phenomena reflects the deeply held belief that the gods influenced natural and supernatural events. This document enriches our understanding of how the ancient Egyptians sought to comprehend and react to extraordinary occurrences, blending observation with religious interpretation. One of the most intriguing aspects of the Tuli Papyrus is its potential implications for unidentified objects and how they had an impact on religion. Proponents of this theory argue that advanced beings visited Earth in antiquity, influencing human cultures and technologies. The detailed descriptions of circles of fire and their behavior in the sky could be interpreted as evidence of advanced, non-terrestrial technology witnessed by the ancient Egyptians. If we accept the Tuli Papyrus as a genuine record, the descriptions of the phenomena suggest advanced technology far beyond the capabilities of ancient civilizations. The brightness, movement patterns, and duration of the sightings indicate controlled, intelligent entities. This raises the possibility that ancient Egypt experienced direct or indirect contact with extraterrestrial beings. The impact of these sightings on Egyptian culture, as recorded in the papyrus, supports the idea that such encounters could have shaped religious and mythological narratives. The reverence and fear associated with the phenomena might have reinforced beliefs in powerful deities and supernatural forces, integrating these experiences into the broader cultural and religious framework. Assuming the Tully Papyrus is real and genuine, it stands as a remarkable document that offers invaluable insights into ancient Egyptian history, religion, and potentially extraterrestrial encounters. The detailed accounts of aerial phenomena, witnessed during the reign of Thutmose III, enrich our understanding of how ancient civilizations perceived and reacted to extraordinary events. The papyrus highlights the sophisticated blend of observation, religious practice, and interpretation that characterized ancient Egyptian culture. Furthermore, the Tully Papyrus invites us to consider broader questions about humanity's past interactions with the unknown. Whether these circles of fire were indeed extraterrestrial visitors or misunderstood natural phenomena, the document underscores the timeless human fascination with the sky and the mysteries it holds. As we continue to explore and interpret ancient texts like the Tully Papyrus, we gain not only historical knowledge, but also a deeper appreciation for the enduring quest to understand our place in the universe. Elizabeth Honch. A man who, according to the authorities, took out his wife and daughter in 1995 while they were living in a New York suburb and then created a new life and family in Ohio, was given a 60-year prison sentence. Officials reported that Elizabeth Honch was unknown for 19 years. They were not identifiable by authorities due to a lack of proof. They remained unidentified until a lady from Virginia Beach contacted New York State Police in June 2014 in search of relatives who had gone missing since 1995. Several rounds of DNA testing had confirmed they were a mother and daughter. According to the evidence, Honch visited family members' houses soon after the incident took place and informed them that Marcia and Elizabeth had left for Australia before him and that he would be joining them because of a job transfer, the state attorney's office stated in a statement. Robert Honch left for South Africa shortly after and returned to the United States a few years later. Robert Honch remarried and had 3 children during that time. When he was apprehended in 2014, he was discovered residing in Dalton, Ohio, with his current wife and 3 children, all under the alias Robert Tyree. Investigators claimed he was linked to what happened by analyzing objects discovered close to the scene. The mystery of Maura Murray. On February 9, 2004, a woman by the name of Faith Westman called the Haverhill, New Hampshire police to report a car collision. It seemed like a black Saturn was trapped in a ditch not far from her house. After thanking her for her call, the dispatcher dispatched an officer. Authorities had received a second contact regarding the accident, this time from Butch Atwood, a bus driver. The woman who drove seemed to be shaken up, but she was unharmed. The woman claimed to have phoned roadside help before Atwood arrived at the crash scene, despite Atwood's assertion that he had offered to call the police. Atwood still made the police call after getting home, which was roughly 100 yards from the scene of the accident. Although he claimed not to be able to see the woman's car from his home, he could see other automobiles going by on the street. The first responding officer reached the area at 7:46 in the evening. However, the mysterious woman had vanished from sight. Authorities discovered that Maura Murray, aged 21, was the missing woman after conducting a preliminary check of the region. She was a University of Massachusetts Amherst nursing student, and earlier that day, she had left campus without informing anyone she was heading to New Hampshire, and she was never seen again after Murray disappeared in Haverhill that evening. Maura Murray grew up in Hanson. At the age of 6, the youngest child of Fred and Laurie Murray, she saw her parents divorce. Murray excelled academically as a track athlete and honor student. Despite receiving an acceptance to West Point, she chose to pursue her nursing studies at the University of Massachusetts in Amherst. Although there were occasional issues, her experience there seemed to be mostly typical. Maura Murray was arrested 3 months before her vanishing for using a credit card number that had been stolen, but if she continued to behave well for 3 months, that charge was meant to be dropped. Additionally, Murray and her sister Kathleen, who was dealing with problems with her fiancé, had a tearful phone call on February 5, 2004. Murray had to be escorted back to her room because she was so upset by the call at her campus security job at the time. Fred Murray, Murray's father, left for Amherst on February 7, 2004. He claimed that after taking his daughter out to supper and car shopping, he returned to his motel. Murray was then given his car to use for the nighttime celebration, enabling her to drive back to her dorm. However, she struck a railing with her father's vehicle while returning in the early hours of the next day. The car sustained major damage, but Murray remained unhurt. But Fred soon discovered that if Murray obtained the necessary paperwork from the Registry of Motor Vehicles, his insurance would pay for the repairs. Murray allegedly seemed well when her father returned her to her hostel later that day, despite her being disturbed about the mishap. However, all changed on February 9, 2004, the following morning. Murray sent an email to her instructors informing them of a bereavement in her family and her intention to take a week off. Murray gave a call to the owner of the Bartlett, New Hampshire condo she had previously visited with her family. However, she didn't book a room. She did not make a reservation when she called a helpline for motels in Stowe, Vermont. She had even used the internet to find directions to Burlington, Vermont by that point. She didn't inform anyone where she was heading, so it's unclear what her intended destination was. Murray drove to an off-campus at 3:15 in the afternoon, and 3 took out $280. After that, she went to a liquor store and spent roughly $40 on boxed wine and Baileys. She also picked up the paperwork related to her vehicle accident from the Registry of Motor Vehicles. She put a call into her own voicemail at 4:37 in the afternoon. That was the last time her phone usage was documented. Murray's whereabouts between her Amherst errands and her automobile crash in Haverhill hours later are unknown. However, it is most likely that she was somewhere between 7 and 7:25 in the evening. The two people who reported the car accident, Westman and Atwood, called 911 at 7:27 and 7:42 in the evening. The first responding officer discovered a wrecked car, but no one was inside. The airbags were deployed and the car was locked. Evidence at the scene indicated the vehicle had been eastbound and had gone off the roadway, struck some trees, spun around, and came to rest facing the wrong way in the eastbound lane. The officer added that they could see a box of Franzia wine right behind the driver's seat of the vehicle. Additionally, they noticed crimson liquid on the car's ceiling and driver's side door. There were no evident clues to foul activity, and no tracks leading into the surrounding woods could be found in the snow. As Atwood was the last person known to have spoken to Murray, the officer initially approached him for assistance with the search. A state trooper eventually arrived, and then firemen and emergency medical assistance. It's thought that nobody ventured east during the initial search, even though they started by searching the region west of the scene. Murray's father, Fred, who learned of his daughter's disappearance only 24 hours after the collision, would later point fingers at numerous aspects of the police search operation. Fred remarked that he knew she was headed east. Murray's phone records would suggest that she was thinking about renting a hotel in Bartlett, but the MapQuest directions she had in the car suggested to the police that she was actually going to Burlington. She had departed without making a definite reservation and without telling anyone about her plans, so it's still unknown where she was heading. During this time, several theories were shared by the media. However, her father said that she was in good spirits and had no worries or reason to run away from her life. Murray had been dealing with a lot of issues before going missing, including her legal troubles related to credit card theft, her concerns about her alcoholic sister, and the fact that she had crashed her father's car just hours before she was involved in another collision. There were indications that Murray meant her disappearance to be permanent, despite the belief held by many of her loved ones that she had just wanted to get away from the turmoil for a few days. Most significantly, when her dorm room was searched, it was discovered that she had packed the majority of her stuff into boxes before leaving. A printed email outlining various issues in her relationship with her partner was found on top of one of the boxes. Murray had left a few essentials in her car, but her backpack and mobile phone were among the few items that were stolen. Her phone was never used again, though. Every bank account connected to her has stayed empty. Furthermore, nothing more than unsubstantiated rumors and purported sightings have surfaced since Maura Murray vanished in 2004. Putting aside sentimental attachments, many have concluded that Murray did not plan to pass away that day based on things found in her car, including college textbooks, birth pills, and tooth whitener. Murray may have fled the scene to avoid difficulties after smashing her automobile a few hours after wrecking her father's car, according to a different scenario. Authorities assumed Murray had been drinking because of the quantity of alcohol discovered at the scene. Murray didn't want to take a chance on her record of good behavior following her credit card fraud arrest. If it had been warmer outside, the adjacent woods may have been a nice spot to hide out, but it was currently quite cold. Additionally, since the area was not checked during the first search, she would have had to flee on the road and move east of the accident scene, as there were no footprints discovered in the snow heading to the woods. Remarkably, a few miles from the accident scene, between 8 and 8:30 in the evening, a contractor who had been driving past on the route where the incident happened that evening later claimed seeing a woman walking westbound. The contractor was first unclear of the precise date he had seen the individual, so he didn't submit the reported sighting until months later. It's still unclear if Murray was the individual in question. Amateur investigators have looked into all of these possibilities, and more in the years following Maura Murray's disappearance. Atwood, the final person to have seen Murray alive, has been the subject of other speculations. That he did not stay with Murray until assistance arrived was viewed by some as suspicious. In addition, he and his spouse relocated to Florida not long after the incident. Most startlingly of all, some citizen investigators have suggested that Murray's father may have mistreated her, possibly to the point where she fled. Murray's family has refuted this claim. The disappearance of Asher Degree. On Valentine's Day in 2000, Asher Degree disappeared from her Shelby, North Carolina home just before dawn. The previous evening, her parents had put her to bed without any problems. When the family's neighborhood lost power due to a local vehicle accident after midnight, Asher's father went to check on her and discovered that she was still asleep. The FBI and local police were at a loss for words after what happened. Asher and her elder brother, O'Brien, were roommates. He admitted to investigators that he heard Asher shift in the middle of the night and that he heard her bed squeak. Asher stepped forth into the stormy night after putting on her black rucksack with a t-shirt and a book from the school library. About 4 in the morning, 2 cars claimed to have seen her by the side of North Carolina Highway 18. Even so, one turned back to check on Asher, but she bolted into the woods. After this, she vanished from sight forever. Asher Jaquila Degree was born in Shelby, North Carolina on August 5, 1990. Her parents, Harold and Aquila Degree, were devoted and hard-working. Being latchkey kids who let themselves in after school when their parents were still at work, Asher and her brother seldom ventured far from their apartment. Later on, Asher's mother would clarify that her daughter was a very intelligent young woman. As a 4th grader, she led a scholastic life and delighted in going to church with her family. She wouldn't even pet the neighborhood dogs and was cautious about strangers. This added to the mystery surrounding what happened to her on February 14, 2000. Asher had gone to bed at 8 in the evening with her brother. Harold checked on them around 2:30 in the morning, but they were asleep because the house hadn't had power restored until just after midnight due to a nearby vehicle accident. Between then and 6:30 in the morning, Asher Degree disappeared. When her mother went to wake Asher and her brother up for school, she found Asher had vanished. The Shelby Police Department was called right away by the family, and they discovered no evidence of forced entry. Asher had brought her book bag with her, the police observed. Following the failure of canine units to locate even a single smell trail to pursue, investigators got their first leads in the afternoon. Around 4 in the morning, 2 persons contacted the station to report that they had spotted a female on Highway 18 who fit Asher's description. According to one of them, the girl ran into the woods when he attempted to approach her. Detective Tim Adams of the Cleveland County Sheriff's Office stated that this was the last time anyone had a sighting of Asher that had actually been confirmed. Asher Degree's hair bow was discovered by the police in a neighboring shed the very next day. They looked over a 2-by-3-mile region for the following 7 days and 9,000 man-hours, but they came up empty. Additionally, they went through 300 suggestions, none of which worked out. Thankfully, the State Bureau of Investigation in North Carolina and the Federal Bureau of Investigation collaborated to locate the missing Asher and proceeded with their search. The matter was made public by the national news and even the Oprah Winfrey Show, and the Degree family was hoping that appearances on the Montel Williams Show would help. The following clue was not found for more than a year and a half. On August 3, 2001, while excavating an access road in Burke County, construction workers discovered Asher's backpack. It included a copy of Dr. Seuss's McElligot's Pool and a New Kids on the Block t-shirt. The book had been checked out at Asher's primary school library, but the finding of the backpack didn't yield any further information. The case's next piece of information didn't surface until 2004, when a prisoner said that they were aware of where she was. When investigators returned to the location of where the prisoner said she was, they discovered animal remains at the location. The Degree family planned a yearly trek from their house to a missing persons billboard in order to raise local awareness when encouraging leads turned out to be dead ends. In her honor, they even instituted a scholarship. When a tipster reported seeing someone who matched Asher's description get into a green Ford Thunderbird or Lincoln Mark IV the night she vanished in 2015, everything changed. After resuming its investigation, the FBI revealed that specific lead in 2016 and made Asher's backpack contents public in 2018. Suggestions keep coming in. Another prisoner at a state correctional facility in North Carolina contacted the Shelby Star in 2020, claiming to have overheard someone discussing her case. He and another prisoner were questioned by investigators, but they were unable to obtain any fresh information. Tim Adams, a Cleveland County investigator, is still hopeful that someone exists who could be able to provide Asher with useful information. Even after the State Bureau of Investigation, local police, and FBI collaborated with the National Center for Missing People, Asher's whereabouts is still unknown. Recently, digitally aged images of Asher as a 30-year-old lady were made public. As things stand, the FBI is willing to pay $25,000 for information that identifies her whereabouts. Another $20,000 is being offered by the Cleveland County Sheriff's Office. The parents of Asher Degree hope that the individual guilty has the guts to come forward and hasn't caused any irreversible harm. The disappearance of Trevor Deely. Early in the morning on December 8, 2000, Trevor Deely disappeared from the streets of Dublin. A high-profile search and publicity campaign were launched after his disappearance at the age of 22, but no trace of him was ever discovered. His disappearance in Dublin just before Christmas sparked what may have been the most publicized missing persons search in recent memory. However, no one has been able to determine what happened to him since he left a CCTV camera on Baggot Street Bridge in the heart of Dublin. At 4 a.m, the camera captured him walking towards Haddington Road. Trevor's brother, Mark Deely, states that the following year, he had well-meaning individuals approach him at work saying that he's in a happy place now. The 14th year since Trevor's disappearance began in December 2014. An age progression picture of Trevor was unveiled on the 10th anniversary, speculating on what he could look like now. Michael Deely took part in a news conference that the Garda set up and uploaded a video of it to YouTube afterwards. He described the family's ordeal as a complete nightmare during that appeal, adding that they weren't going to give up until they had a clear understanding of what transpired. They are simply holding out hope that things will improve. He added that Trevor had worked in information technology and they have been told that he loved that work, meaning that if he was seen working elsewhere, he was probably in an IT setting. The family stated that although Trevor's mother is too traumatized to discuss the disappearance, she is eager to thank her friends at the Naas Tennis Club for their generosity and support over the previous 14 years. Naas is where Trevor Deely grew up. Standing at a height of more than 6 feet, he had reddish blonde hair and a unique stance as he walked with his arms straight down by his sides. He was an affable youngster who enjoyed maths but was not as athletic or intellectual as his older siblings. Like many others, he didn't know what to do after school. He attempted to attend Waterford Institute of Technology to study business while holding a part-time job at a supermarket, but he left school in his second year. He was able to locate a computer course in Dublin thanks to his sister Michelle. According to Michael Deely, he took to it like a duck to water. According to his sister, it was like turning a key in a lock. He seemed to be really good at it as well, and he finally found what he really enjoyed. 3 employment offers were made to him after he completed his study. Regarding which to choose, he sought his father's guidance. Trevor began working at Bank of Ireland Asset Management in May 1999. The company was located near Leeson Street Bridge in a notable neo-Georgian edifice. He worked in an open-plan office with a staff of 10 or so other people in the IT department. Glenn Cullen was Trevor's best friend from childhood to maturity. They first got together in their first year of high school in Naas. He said that he never, ever got into a disagreement with him. Among their close circle of acquaintances was Conleth Lunan, another native of Naas. Trev had a cheerful disposition, and he was usually in excellent form. He also possessed a level head because he was performing admirably at work and had a serious side to him. He was a serious worker. Together, the three would frequent bars and clubs in their early 20s. Smithwick's was the drink of choice in Naas, and Thomas Fletcher's was the local. On their nights out, they had a good time, but according to Glenn, it was never falling around the place. Glenn remembers that they always corresponded via their identical cell phones, which were Nokia's at the time, as this was a popular model. Email wasn't out yet. Glenn Cullen was employed by Aer Lingus as a long-haul flight attendant, primarily on the Los Angeles and New York routes during Trevor's tenure at Bank of Ireland Asset Management. Glenn was eligible for free or heavily discounted flights for a number of family members and friends because he worked for Aer Lingus. Glenn made arrangements for Trevor to be listed as the recipient of his Cara discount pass for a vacation not long before Trevor vanished. Glenn last saw Trevor in late November 2000 as he was passing through US Customs on his route to Alaska at Dublin Airport. He left Dublin for Los Angeles, arriving at LAX. From what he understood, he had a direct connecting aircraft to Anchorage. He went alone to see this girl he had met in Dublin that summer who lived in Anchorage. The two friends had been talking about the woman on a previous night out. For what he believes to have been no more than £40, Glenn used his pass to book Trevor a return flight, covering a distance of 24,000 kilometers round trip. According to Michael Dealey, Trevor got to know a few girls from Alaska when he was in Ireland, thanks to his connections in Naas and the neighboring town. The girls were in Anchorage attending university. It appears that one day he answered the phone or checked his email. He had all of their emails as he was interested in them, and he sent these women in Alaska an email letting them know he was free for a few days or something. The financial institution on Thursday, December 7th, was the planned date of the Christmas celebration. Trevor was among those that went to Copperface Jack's first. Then, according to Dara Treacy, everyone convened at the Hilton Hotel on Charlemont Place for a sit-down meal and a band. That week, the two had exchanged several emails concerning Christmas, her return trip, and gifts from family. Trevor's shirt size came up in their most recent conversation. Before anyone was aware that Trevor was missing, Michelle got her brother a light blue Ralph Lauren shirt for Christmas that weekend in London. It's still with her. Glenn and Conleth were out for the evening back in Naas. Trevor once called Glenn, but the noise of the Hilton office party prevented Glenn from hearing him. Glenn believes it was late, at around 11:30 in the evening. He then gave him a call back, but he didn't answer the call. They never really spoke to one another because of the background noise and the fact that they kept missing each other's calls. Following the Hilton, several individuals, such as Trevor Dealey and Dara Treacy, proceeded to Buck Whaley's, a nightclub located on Lower Leeson Street. This newspaper's weather forecast for the post-midnight hours of December 8, 2000, for the eastern counties stated that there was going to be heavy rain overnight. In Dublin, there was a taxi strike that rainy and chaotic night. This was going to be important in the Trevor disappearance investigation since it meant that fewer possible reliable witnesses would be available. Since taxi drivers are often around, it is helpful to know that there were none available on that particular night, said to be Detective Sergeant Michael Fitzgerald, who has been working on the Dealey case since the start. Trevor would not have been severely affected by the taxi strike, according to Dara Treacy, as he often walked to work. He lived with two girls, one of whom was Michelle's acquaintance, in the Renoir building on Serpentine Avenue in Ballsbridge. But as Dara remembers, it was pouring rain that night, and Trevor would have discovered as soon as he walked outside for his trip home that he didn't have an umbrella. They had a conversation regarding the party and the attendees. Carl claims Trevor was playing really well. Carl then had to return to his job. Trevor picked up one of the business golf umbrellas that were usually left laying around the office, bid farewell, and headed back outside into the rainy night. Glenn was asleep at his Naas house. He would always leave his phone next to his bed, turned on. His phone was downstairs in the kitchen, charging. It is required to be charged once every 7 to 10 days. Glenn discovered a voicemail from Trevor when he went into the kitchen early on December 8, 2000, and picked up his phone. He estimates that the voicemail was left at around 4 in the morning. Since he erased the message after listening to it, he is unable to be positive, according to Fitzgerald. Glenn's Nokia was never requested by the Garda, allowing it to obtain Trevor's last voicemail, which is known to exist. Rain was still falling as Trevor Dealey strolled along the Grand Canal with the golf umbrella in his hand in the minutes following the call. After that, he is not known to have had contact with anyone else, but he was captured on camera. The friends of Trevor Deely persevered in finding this clip. In 2000, there was a single CCTV camera outside a Bank of Ireland building on the intersection of Baggot Street Bridge and Haddington Road, which is currently a pizza restaurant. However, the number of CCTV cameras has increased since then. At the time, Conleth Lunan was employed for a communications firm that provided CCTV systems. Speaking of the outdated analog tapes, Conleth remarks that being in the business, he would have known back then that all the CCTV footage was recorded on VHS video. He was aware that recording businesses either stored their tapes for a brief duration or erased them and re-recorded them immediately, following a 24-hour period. These days, a digital video recorder, or DVR, records everything captured by security cameras and stores it directly to a hard disk. Following the report of Trevor Deely's disappearance, Conleth and his friends made it their mission to visit every location along any potential path that Trevor may have taken to get home from his office. They then requested that the organizations review their security tape for any film captured during the early hours of that Friday morning. The only location where Trevor was captured on camera that evening was the Bank of Ireland on Baggot Street Bridge. Conleth remembers that the manager informed him that it would have been eliminated quickly because the bank operated on a 28-day cycle at the time, which was about to expire. He added that they were fortunate to have called in at that time, adding that she would not give the video to us, but would hold it for the guards once they got in touch with her. The Conleth lads' first action was to gather the CCTV tapes from the cameras. There was some disagreement over that. The guards claimed it was their duty, but there was a pressing need for time. Following Conleth's inquiry, Bank of Ireland provided the Garda with footage that captured a tall guy on the damp sidewalk at 4:14 in the morning, partially concealed behind a bank umbrella. The man was recognised by the Deely family as Trevor. This final photo represents the final known glimpse of Trevor Deely before he vanished beyond the CCTV's field of view. Then, word spread among friends and relatives that Trevor was missing and that calls were coming in from all across Dublin, Naas, and beyond. Trevor's mother, Anne Deely, received the first call at the Naas family residence. She then gave her husband, Michael, a call. The initial call simply stated that he hadn't arrived at work, but it didn't really worry her. Soon after, she gave Michael another call and asked him to see Trevor and the other two residents of the Serpentine Avenue flat in Ballsbridge. She got in touch with Trevor's friends, but none of them had seen or spoken to him since Thursday. When Michael Deely rang the doorbell of his son's flat, no one picked up, and he didn't have a key. The mother said that it finally dawned on her that he might be missing. That morning in Castlebar, Mark Deely answered his mother's phone and made the decision to head straight to Naas. In the event, Mark Deely would spend over 2 months away from his Castlebar residence. They posted thousands of pamphlets, hundreds of laminated posters, went door to door, entered bars, clubs and restaurants, stood on street corners, talked to homeless people, and looked for security camera footage. Trevor's route home was drawn out in all possible combinations, and each one was examined. They continued doing this day in and day out. That December, Dubliners were accustomed to seeing the face of Trevor Deely staring at them from many poles and lampposts all around the city. A few of the posters were up for several months or even years until they finally fell apart. It is nobody's desire to be the one to take down a missing persons poster. The final known image of Deely was captured on another security camera, this time in front of a bank he passed on Haddington Road on his way home on foot. There is still no explanation for his disappearance, despite ongoing police inquiries. The mystery of Andrew Irvine. Andrew Irvine and George Mallory embarked on their mission to reach the peak a century ago. Later on, Mallory's remains were uncovered, but as of right now, neither of their remains can be located. Before setting out to climb Everest, George Mallory penned a letter to his mother. Along with his climbing partner Andrew Irvine, his disappearance has turned into one of the most intriguing mysteries in exploration history. A final, thrilling view of the two through mist not far from the peak has sparked conflicting hypotheses among historians, writers, and filmmakers over the years, all centered around the same question: did they make it to the top? Regarding Mallory and Irvine's fate, there's a fresh mystery to unravel. Conrad Anker, an American climber, found Mallory's in 1999 and left it in its original site. Researchers had also pinpointed Irvine's final resting spot. However, Jamie McGuinness, who has a 5-time summit completion record from the Tibetan side, stated that he has concluded that the individuals of both British climbers were taken sometime in the 2000s after conducting a thorough investigation of the area during an expedition in 2019. According to McGuinness, Irvine is almost certainly no longer up there. Along for the ride was American mountain guide and author of The Third Pole Mark Sinnott, who ascended to the spot where many Everest researchers concur is the most likely location for Irvine's remains. He did not find anything. According to Sinnott, the team also looked at the exact location where Anker discovered Mallory's bones 25 years ago, but they were unable to find Mallory. Everyone with in-depth knowledge of the incident concurs that China's climbing authorities were the ones who took the remains of Mallory and Irvine out. One possible explanation could be the unfavorable media coverage surrounding the individuals left high on the mountain. However, Mallory's remains were buried far below and difficult to find, but Irvine's were near the current climbing path. It is probably related to China's long-standing resentment of the dubious response from the West to China's ascent of the mountain over 60 years ago. Furthermore, China was actually aware of the burial locations for the individuals. Mallory and Irvine had been sighted considerably earlier than 1999. Using a powerful telescope to scan the highest portion of the mountain in 1936, British pioneer Frank Smythe saw what he was certain was Mallory or Irvine. It was beneath the spot where, 3 years earlier, a British crew had found an abandoned ice axe. Smythe never made his discovery known to the public. He wrote to Edward Norton, another Everest climber and Mallory's buddy, saying that it's not to be written about as the press would make an unpleasant sensation. An enormous propaganda boost for China's then-leader Mao Zedong occurred 7 years after Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay became the first humans to reach the summit, when a Chinese team reached Everest via the more dangerous North Ridge that Mallory and Irvine had been attempting to climb. A climber named Xu Jing grew ill and made his way down by himself. He found an individual in a sheltering rock fissure between 8,300 and 8,400 meters after going off course in hypoxia and freezing temperatures. Arms by its sides, he reported that the individual was face up. Only Irvine may have been the source. In 1999, Mallory was discovered face down at 8,100 meters on an open slope, with his arms outstretched above him, seemingly attempting to avert a fall. Upon reaching the peak in 1975, Chinese climbers discovered not 1, but 2, and maybe 3 Britons. During a goodwill expedition between China and Japan in 1979, the first indication of these discoveries appeared. Wang Hongbao reported to a Japanese colleague that one English climber's remains, likely those of daring explorer Maurice Wilson, had been discovered. The other was approximately 8,100 meters higher. The climber's clothes, which crumbled away as he touched it, astounded him. Wang was taken out in an avalanche the day following this conversation. The growing obsession with Mallory and Irvine whereabouts was sparked by these revelations, but Chinese mountaineering authorities have continuously refuted them in spite of supporting evidence. In 1999, Mallory and its wealth of personal belongings were discovered, making headlines worldwide and raising awareness of the case. Among the team members who located him was Jake Norton. When Norton and his colleagues revisited the mountain in 2001, they were unable to locate Irvine, but they did discover a great deal more items from the pre-war Everest missions.